You stood at the mirror this morning, and the razor pulled. It dragged at your jaw instead of gliding and left a patch of red under your chin. So you made your note. Buy more blades. $6 a cartridge, a fresh one every couple of weeks, $150 a year for a sliver of steel that cost the company 40 cents to make. Here is what nobody told you. That razor is not dull. It only thinks it is. And the cure costs you nothing. My name is Uncle Yoder. I am Amish, and I farm a piece of ground in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. My grandfather shaved with the same blade for near 50 years and never bought another. After my last video on the soap powder that cleans a toilet bowl for pennies, a lot of you wrote in asking the same thing. What else are the companies having us throw away? Here is one you hold every morning. I will show you 3 things. Why a blade truly goes dull, and it is not your whiskers. A 30-second habit that brings the old edge back. And a $3 bottle that stretches one blade a whole year. This works whether you shave with a 5-blade cartridge or a cheap drugstore twin, and you need no new tools. Here is what should bother you. The razor men have known all of it since 1901, when King Gillette sold the world not a better blade, but a way to buy the same blade forever. For 120 years, that industry has grown rich on you, dropping good steel in the trash. A farm bulletin from 1938 out of the Michigan State Agricultural College by a man named D.N. Sutherland lays it out plain. Stay with me, and by spring you will still be shaving on the blade you own today. Here is what most folks get wrong about a razor. You think your beard wears it out. It does not. A whisker is soft. Set it against the steel that cuts it, and the hair is maybe 1/5 as hard. Your face is not what kills the blade. The air in your bathroom is. The cutting edge of a modern blade is ground finer than you can picture. A sliver of steel thinner than the very hair it cuts. At that thinness, water and air go to work on it the moment you set it down wet. The fine edge bends. It rusts in spots too small to see. It curls over into tiny burrs the minute it sits in a puddle. By the time the blade feels rough on your jaw, that edge has been folding and pitting for days. You are not shaving with a worn-out blade. You are shaving with a good blade whose edge has been bent over and eaten by the damp. My grandfather shaved every morning of his life with one straight razor, a bone handle, worn smooth, where his thumb sat. I never once saw him buy a blade because he never needed to. Every morning, before he set the steel to his face, he ran it back and forth along a strip of leather that hung by the wash basin. The heel of the blade first, the sharp side trailing behind, never digging in. 10 slow passes, maybe 20. He was not grinding the blade down. He was standing its edge back up. That folded, bent-over edge I told you about, the leather pushed it back into line, and the razor came off that strap, sharper than it went on. Barbers have done the very same thing for more than 100 years and called it nothing but ordinary care. The razor company calls it lost business. This is the whole difference between the English way and ours, laid bare on a bathroom shelf. The English buy a thing, use it till it stumbles, throw it out, and buy it again. We buy a thing once, and we keep it. The razor company did not replace the blade. It replaced the care. It took the strap off the wall and sold you a trash can in its place. So here is your whole kit, and you likely own all of it already. 1. An old pair of blue jeans. That is your leather strap. The woven denim is rough enough to straighten a fine edge near as well as a barber's strop, and it is hanging in your closet right now. 2. A small bottle of plain mineral oil. Any drugstore sells it for about $3 as a laxative or a wood oil, and one bottle lasts you years. 3. A cup of plain white vinegar, which you already keep in the kitchen. That is the whole cost. $3, one time. Let me walk you through the main trick, the one that does most of the work. Lay the jeans flat on something hard, a table or a closed lid. The thigh of the leg works best. pulled flat and tight so there is no slack. Take your razor and turn it so the handle points away from you and the blades face away, the spine leading. Now draw it up the denim, away from you in one long smooth stroke. Spine first, the cutting edge trailing behind, the way my grandfather ran the leather. Never let the edge bite forward into the cloth. 20 strokes up the leg. Then turn the razor over and give it 20 more on the other face of the blades. That is it. The denim does the same quiet work the leather did. It finds that bent folded edge and presses it back straight. Never run the razor forward, edge first, into the cloth. Do that and you will slice threads and dull the very edge you came to save. Backward only, spine leading, edge trailing, every single time. 30 seconds, and you are done. Now the second half, and most men get this part exactly backward. After you shave, you rinse the razor and leave it sitting in the shower, or balanced on the wet rim of the sink. That is the worst place on earth for a sliver of steel. Standing water, a film of soap, the lime and iron in your tap water, all of it goes to work rusting that fine edge the second you walk away. You just stood the edge back up, and now you have laid it down in a puddle to undo every bit of your 30 seconds. So do one more small thing. Shake the razor hard, 5 or 6 good snaps. Edge down to throw the water off. Drag the back of it once across a dry towel. Then set it somewhere dry and open to the air. Off the shower floor. Off the wet sink. A little cup on a shelf, a hook on the wall, anywhere the air can move around it. Dry storage and the 30-second habit together keep that blade near new from one shave to the next. My grandfather had a name for this little habit. He called it the morning stand. A blade does not die in the night, he would say. Its edge only lies down. The morning stand sets it back on its feet. 30 seconds of standing a tired edge back up. Now let me tell you why the blade still feels rough sometimes, even after the strap. Because there is one more piece, and it is the cleverest trick the company's ever pulled. Look close at a new cartridge, and you will see a colored band across the top, above the blades. They call it a lubricating strip. It is what makes the razor glide smooth across your cheek the first few shaves. Here is what they do not put on the box. That strip is built to wear away. It dissolves a little with every pass under the water, and the men who designed it made sure it fades long before the steel underneath has gone truly dull. The color washes out, the glide goes with it, the shave turns rough and dragging, and you, like everybody else, read that roughness as a dead blade and throw the whole thing away. But the steel was fine. You can stand that edge back up with the denim all you like. The trouble is the strip is gone, and no amount of stropping brings back a strip that has dissolved. So you do what the barbers did 100 years before anybody sold a lubricating strip. You oil the steel yourself. After you strop and dry the razor, put one small drop of that plain mineral oil on your fingertip and wipe it across the face of the blades. That is all. The oil does not dull a thing. It lays a thin coat over the steel that the water cannot get under, and it stands in for the factory strip the company let wash away. The razor glides again, smooth as the first morning you used it. One drop, a few times a week. A $3 bottle covers you for a year and then some. And one last thing, the fastest of all. Once a week, after you strop, drop the head of the razor into a little cup of white vinegar and leave it half a minute. The same hard water that scales up your kettle and crusts your shower head leaves a fine grit of lime and iron on your blade. That grit pits the steel and feeds the rust right along the edge. The vinegar eats it clean away in 30 seconds. A cup you already own, half a minute, once a week, and the steel stays smooth as the day it was stamped out. Now stand the two paths side by side. The company way, $150 a year, every year, for one man. Twice, that for a husband and wife, both shaving. A sliver of steel that cost 40 cents to stamp, sold to you for $6 and thrown in the trash before the month is out. And think who all gets fed along that road. The blade makers make money. The men who design the strip that fades make money. The plastic handle factories make money. The trucks that haul the little cartridges make money. The store that stacks them behind a locked plastic case makes money. There is a whole industry standing between you and a clean shave, and every one of them does better the day you decide your good blade is dead. Now the plain way. $3 one time for a bottle of oil. A pair of jeans you already wore out. A cup of vinegar off the kitchen shelf. And a blade that lasts you half a year instead of half a month. My grandfather kept that bone-handled razor until the day he died, and my father has it now, wrapped in an oilcloth in a drawer. One blade. A whole life of mornings. He never once paid a store for the right to scrape his own face. These days I shave with a cartridge like everybody else, because that is what the shelf sells. But the strap did not go away. It just turned into a pair of old denim trousers folded on a shelf, and the oil turned into a $3 bottle from the druggist. The habit outlived the tool. It was never about the razor. It was about refusing to throw a good thing away because a company told you it was finished. My wife laughs at me because I will strop a cartridge the package swears is a throwaway and shave with it clear into autumn. But she keeps every good thing in her kitchen the same way, and her mother did before her. And two more things the men on these roads do, in case you want the whole of it. Old Amos, 2 farms over from me, never throws a worn blade out at all. He drops his old cartridges into a jar of mineral oil on the windowsill and lets them soak between shaves. He swears a blade kept under oil never rusts, and that he has shaved off the same handful for near 2 years. I have seen the jar. I believe him. And my brother, the one who runs the sawmill at the south end of my place, keeps a strip of old leather belt tacked to the wall by his shop sink. He strops his pocket knife on it, his chisels, his plane irons, and yes, his razor, all on the same worn strap. A razor, a kitchen knife, a garden hoe, a wood chisel. Every one is just a thin edge of steel that has folded over and wants standing back up. The companies would sell you a new one of each. The strap brings them all home for nothing. Here is the thing that ought to sit heavy with you. You did not forget how to keep a blade. You were taught to forget. Slowly. One clever little strip at a time. One $6 cartridge at a time. One generation at a time. 120 years ago, a man worked out that the real money was never in the razor. It was in the blade you would buy again and again until the day you died. So the strap came off the wall. The oil bottle vanished from the shelf. The 30-second habit your great-grandfather did without thinking got traded for a trip to the store and a little plastic case with a lock on it. Nobody lied to you. They simply stopped telling the truth, and after 2 or 3 generations, the knowledge was just gone. A thing every farmhand and barber once knew became a secret you had to stumble onto. They will tell you the steel got better. The science marched on. It did not. The blade in your hand is the same steel your grandfather stropped. The only thing that changed is that he knew what to do with it the morning. It felt rough, and you were never told. Now you have been told. So here is the one thing I am asking you to do this week. Do not throw out the razor you were about to replace. Pull it back out of the trash if you have to. Find an old pair of jeans, lay them flat, and give that blade 20 strokes up and 20 back, spine first, edge trailing. Shake it dry, set it on a shelf away from the water, and wipe 1 drop of oil across it. Then shave with it tomorrow and feel the difference for yourself. I am not asking you to throw out your razor and shave with a straight blade like my grandfather. I am not asking you to live without the store. I am not asking you to take up my whole way of life. I am asking you to stop letting a company tell you when a good blade is finished. 30 seconds and a pair of jeans. That is the whole price. By next weekend, you will be reaching for a blade you would have thrown away, and it will shave you clean. Now tell me something in the comments. What do you spend in a year on blades, you and everybody under your roof together? Drop the number down below and tell me what state you are shaving in while you do it. I read every one of them, my wife and I both, out loud at the kitchen table after the supper dishes are done. And if your father or your grandfather kept a strap by the wash basin, tell me that too. I would dearly love to hear it. The next video I am putting together is about the bar of soap. Why the shaving cream in the can costs 10 times what it ought to. And how the old men on these roads pulled a closer, smoother lather out of a plain cake of soap and a badger brush than any pressurized can ever gave them, with a trick the soap companies quietly buried after the war. I will show you how to do it for pennies, and I will see you there. Until then, stay sharp, stay frugal, and remember, the people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only just starting to remember.